unnecessary intro song to totally waste your time.
So I'm not a very smart guy. I did okay in school, excelled in the arts. Anything that required creativity and didn't require any accountability, I was good at that. Not being accountable? I'm really good at that. But, I was no math genius. I hated math. I remember my math teacher came to me and he was frustrated because I would just not listen. I would totally zone out. I'd be drawing in my notebook or drawing on my desk, and I wouldn't turn in homework. That's just kind of the way I was as a student, But his math teacher guy said, "You're really smart. You can get these stuff. I know you know how to do these problems because you do well on tests." But for me, it's just like in one ear, out the other. I didn't have any interest in math, so I didn't retain it. And that's kind of the way I am in regular life. If I can meet 10 people at a party and never remember anything about them, if I'm not interested in them. But if I'm interested in somebody, I'll remember them forever, even if I've only seen them once. I retain the knowledge that's interesting to me, and I don't. I watched the whole new series of Black Mirror, right? And then it went back and it started on an old, I thought I was done with the new season, and then it started again on a different season, I guess because Netflix didn't think I'd watched an episode or something. And then I watched almost an entire episode, and I thought, this is vaguely familiar, And I realized by the end, I think I saw that. I'm not sure, but I think I saw it twice. I think I didn't miss that episode, In one ear, out the other. Wasn't a good episode, didn't like it that much. In one ear, out the other. So, I don't know. Does that make me dumb? Maybe super smart people retain every piece of information always because everything fits into a larger puzzle. Anyway, my brain doesn't work like that. So, it's just funny now how you find everybody's an expert. And it's one thing to be an expert on something that you can study and you can pick apart. Like, here's a recipe for a good pie. Check it out. This is how long you cook this. This is what makes the crust flaky. But then these people that are speculating about the future, about the weather, about, geology, about stock markets, finances, predicting the future. These people that require a crystal ball. And we're talking about a zillion different variables. There's a lot of variables when you have 2 people involved. Imagine 10 people or 1,000 people or 8 billion people. So many variables and things that are impossible to predict, You can get a general idea. If you anger 1,000 people, there's a pretty good chance that 1,000 people are going to try to right the scales and get you back. These types of things are pretty easy to predict, but I'm seeing all these people with these crystal balls predicting doom and gloom on the financial market, and this is going to lead to this and that and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, why? What? How? Why do these certain people think that they're so smart that they can predict things? Now, you can probably see where I'm going with this. I don't know what's going on with tariffs and shit like that. I try to break things down for my stupid retard brain, And for me, free markets always make the most sense because, just get out of the way. Let people negotiate, And then when somebody gets out of line, the market will correct it. The market will say, fuck you. I'm sick of your stupid business. I'm sick of your prices. I'm not buying it anymore. I'm not paying. There's only so much I'll pay for your fucking taco, Jose. Okay? You raise the price too much, and I'm going to Juan's to get my taco. Okay? So free markets just it's sensible, meaning it appeals to my experience and my senses. People can trade freely, make their own agreements. Nobody's interfering. No mob guys getting in the middle, taking a tax or getting paid his dues, making threats. You know, no big conglomerations saying, let's fix our prices. You know, free markets. You know, and so the idea has always been, well, you know, if a different country doesn't have a free market, well, they'll end up paying for it in the end because they're the ones that are manipulating, and people will avoid business, and, you know, ultimately they're going to fuck themselves over. You know, okay, they don't want stuff from the US, fine. Their people will get upset because they'll see these great cars from the US and they'll want them and they can't buy them, and they'll get mad at the government, and ultimately all the angers will build up, and the people, if they want to, if they get angry enough or skinny enough, or, you know, they'll revolt and they'll change the government, because governments are a reflection of the people. That's the way I see it. You know, I see people putting up with bad government as being a reflection of the people. If a country has a dictator for a long time, my assumption is that the people, they might not love it, but there's only so much people can tolerate, and until that threshold is met, I just assume they are tolerating it, you know, begrudgingly, or maybe some of them happily. You know, within a population, you got some people love it. That's part of the toleration threshold. You know, you got to factor all that in. So that's kind of the way I've kind of looked at China. And then Trump comes in with all these tariffs and all that other stuff. And I think, oh shit, I don't know. That kind of goes against my retard brain sensibility. You know, leave it alone. Don't interfere. But, you know, then he keeps talking, and you realize, okay, retard Merkley, you've got a big government interfering with that market and manipulating things. If you want a free market, should a government ever pressure another government into being a free market or being more free? Yes or no? I don't know. On the one hand, why not? Why even have a government if they're not doing general lookout? You know, general lookout for the interests of the people of the country. Isn't that what a president's supposed to be doing? Looking out for the interests of the country? Otherwise, why? Why even have a foreign policy? I'm kind of an isolationist, really. You know, my policy is always, you know, if you own a good nightclub, put some good bouncers at the door, keep the riffraff out, try to keep them out to begin with, but when they get rowdy, you throw them out, you know, and then you have peace and harmony within your little nightclub because you keep the riffraff at a bare minimum, you know, keep the bad players at bay. You know, and that's kind of that would be my foreign policy, is just to, you know, put some good bouncers at the door, keep a good border, throw out the bad guys, bring in the good guys. You know, oh yeah, you look great, come on in. Oh yeah, you bring a lot to you're coming in with 5 women? Fantastic. Right this way, sir. Oh, you're bringing in a bunch of fucking slimy dudes? No thanks. Back to the back of the line. You know, it's pretty much just like that. You know, I don't want no scrubs. You know, at my club. That's the border policy. I think that would work pretty good. And then, of course, you can make deals with other clubs. You can stock your club. You can, you know, free trade. That's how you buy your booze, your stupid neon, and all the fucking shit you put in your club to make people want to come there. But you vet everybody. You don't want to just let anybody into your club. You start letting in anybody and the club closes down. Nobody wants to go there anymore. You know what I mean? So, anyway, again, I'm retarded. But I see these people with the crystal balls, and I just go, how do these people? If you're going to have a crystal ball, I know I'm repetitive here, but if you're going to have a crystal ball, why project doom and gloom? Because obviously the crystal ball is just going to be a reflection of what your inner mind, your worries, your fears, your projections, your hopes, everything gets projected into that crystal ball, unless you actually believe that crystal balls work, that people can accurately see the future. And maybe some people can. Maybe some people just can see everything and they know how everything's going to play out. I know a lot of people that really seem to believe that they can accurately predict the future. And there are people that stand in as evidence for that. There are some people that, for example, do really well in the stock market or any kind of market thing. They go, oh, I see this trend happening. I'm going to hop on that. But it's not global. It's like they get good at one thing and they're not good at something else. They're hyper focused on one thing. They can see a trajectory, and chances are more likely than not they have skin in the game. Anyway, I'm talking like an idiot. But the point is where I'm at right now is, fuck if I know. I don't know how this is going to end up. I look at the banking system, and no matter how many times, no matter how many ways I look at it, I always come up with the thought that it's all imaginary. It's all just kind of a con game. It's a confidence game. You got to have confidence in something. It's an imaginary thing. When you issue a piece of paper and say, this represents a sliver of gold that I've got in a warehouse, it's lighter than gold, so you can use it. At first you go, okay, that's great. This is tied to that piece of gold. I can go trade this in for that piece of gold, but this is easier to carry around. That's how it started. And you go, all right, I get it. Or even the gold itself, that this gold represents a store of wealth. It's cool, it's shiny, it's interesting. You can use it for lots of different things. And therefore, it's something I can trade for a potato. I would like a potato. My stomach would like a potato. Here's a piece of gold. I can't eat the gold. Or I can eat the gold, but it's not going to do me any good. So here's some gold. Give me a potato. And then the paper version is like, I don't want to carry around the gold. The gold's in a safe. This is easier. For whatever reason, I think the gold probably would have been fine. Okay, I think we probably could have kept carrying around gold. Probably would have been smart. I think the big con came in when somebody said, hey, I got an idea. Let's just issue little pieces of paper and we'll say they represent gold hidden away in Fort Knox behind a big wall. Anyway, there's the con. And I think we're long past that. I think anybody paying attention realizes that there is no, yeah, okay, there's gold, but no, when you're just printing money, what's that? It's fucking imaginary. The U.S. owes. Owes? Really? Who? Who's coming to collect? Who is coming to collect? And how are they going to collect? Is China going to go, hey, you owe me $20. Pay me or else. Or else what? You're going to impound my car? Yeah, that's what you're going to do? You know what I mean? So the whole thing is just like, I saw a meme where it's just like, the world owes, the world debt clock. The world owes. It's like, who? Who does the world owe? Some aliens? No, it's these fucking bankers. And what do these bankers do? They do, that is kind of how they collect. They go, okay, so you're not going to pay me, you're not going to do things my way. Well, we're going to finance this country to buy weapons, and we'll stir the pot, and we'll stir up a war, and we'll literally start bombing shit. So, yeah, that is kind of the way they're doing it. But it's a small group of people, you know? The small group of people that know how to manipulate people into violence in order to protect this weird system of money. Anyway, that's a big tangent. So really, if you're going to have a crystal ball, what you need to know is how those people are going to react. How are those people going to react? You know, what are they going to do to protect their pieces on the board? You know, who are they going to arm? What violent measures are they going to take? Because let me tell you something. The potatoes are growing just fine. That's why I'm not worried. People are all worried, oh, there's a big collapse. Oh. It's like, no. The potatoes are growing fine. My plants on my deck, my yard, everything's growing very well. The critters, the animals are flourishing. You know, I can go to the beach, collect mussels off the rocks, plenty of fish. Yeah, the miracle. When you start growing things, you realize, holy shit, this is a miracle. Life is miraculous. I can put this in the ground, little water comes by, and a thing grows, and I can eat it and turn it into a turd. You know? That's working. It doesn't stop. It's like, I don't need to get a license for, well, obviously they try to. They don't want me farming too much in my backyard. You know, if they see me too much self-sustenance, is that the word? If they see me providing for myself too much, they're going to get upset, you know? But even solar panels, blah, 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 I can get into it. But we don't have a problem with that. Life on Earth is flourishing. And it probably will continue to flourish. If global warming is a thing, well, that's just going to increase growing seasons, make a larger swath of planet Earth fertile for growing, easier for farming. Imagine if the growing season extends up into northern Alberta or Alaska, you know, or all of Russia, all the Arctic. Imagine if Greenland becomes actually green instead of covered in ice. Sure, there's going to be deserts, and deserts are going to, things will move around, but guess what? Human beings have legs. They can move. They even have jets and boats and cars. Lots of ways for people to get around. They can even move houses. You know, you can pick up a house, put it on wheels, and move it. So, rising tide's my ass. I'm not worried about shit like that. So yeah, the financial markets, tariffs. Am I worried about that? Not really. Not really. What I am worried about is, and I don't worry too much, I try not to worry at all, but the concern would be if these players, these financial players who have plenty of money of their own, if they get grumpy and upset and they start, I don't know, throwing the potatoes into a giant pit and burying them, burning the potatoes, preventing the potatoes from getting to market intentionally, and shipping guns into a certain area. You know, no potatoes, just guns. Because that's what these bankers are really doing. They say, oh, well, we'll starve the kids of cabbage, make them hungry and grumpy, tell them that this person's the one that's doing it to them. You know, it's not us. We're not the ones starving you of your potatoes and cabbage. It's those guys. Here's some guns. Go get them. you know? And that's the potential. Those are the potentials, is people doing that. But those are a small group of people. It's just a matter of people can open their eyes and see that that's what's happening, because the soil is not changing. The weather is fantastic. There's water. There's abundance everywhere. And that's another thing while I'm rambling on about my stupid ideas. Trump and these guys are talking about bringing manufacturing back to America. And this is obviously, to me, smart. Self-sufficiency is good. If I can have my own pigs and my own chickens and my own potatoes, and I'm self-reliant, I'm in a good position for survival. If my supply chain is nature, my own yard, there's my wood, there's my rocks, there's my sand, here's some limestone for cement. I got all my resources right here. I can grow things, I can build things, I can protect things. If I get enough lead, and I can even create some gunpowder, and I can protect my shit. Self-sufficient, being reliant on somebody else who can turn off that spigot at any time, dumb. It's dumb. And unfortunately, most people on Earth have become totally reliant on outside things. So it makes complete sense for a president to go, well, we need to become more self-reliant. We need to bring back manufacturing. There was this meme that I saw where lefties were trying to mock Trump and whatever for bringing manufacturing back, and they showed, a bunch of fat white people, Southerners probably, working in sweatshops and sewing things. They made it bleak. The coloring was bleak and stuff. Not to mention how racist it is. It's like, keep your slavery over there where you don't have to see it. Be grateful for your slaves in China. But the thing that I haven't seen happening in the conversation is people don't seem to be thinking about robotics and AI and all that other shit. It's like, okay, bring back the manufacturing. Who's to say that it's going to be Americans in their factories now aren't like factories, and nobody's saying we're going to go back to old-fashioned. The reason why it happens in China that kind of factory exists is because human beings don't have any real rights there, and it's cheap as fuck to get them. They can work all day and night, 18-hour days, sleep on the floor in the factory. That's not allowed here. So when I see Elon Musk and Trump bringing manufacturing back to America, I'm imagining that these new factories and stuff will be robots. And a lot of people go, oh no, that's the end of the world. Oh, robots, oh shit. I'm like, really? Robots are everywhere. Robots have been making our lives better better is a relative term, but we've been using robots. Your car's a robot, your phone's a robot, your camera's a robot, your piano's a robot, your bike's a robot. Every machine you use, your meat grinder's a robot, your pasta machine's a robot, your blender, your toaster, you've had robots, the airplane's a robot. Robots have been making our lives what they are today forever, Do you think a robot doing coal mining is a bad thing, or would you rather send a child down into the mine? Let me tell you something. If you think the child down the mine needs to be there instead of a robot, you need to go to church. Something's wrong with your brain. If you think that it's better to have Mexicans out in a field picking strawberries than a robot doing it, and leaving the Mexicans time to find something more fun to do, like go to the beach. Abundance, my friends. Abundance. Life, the earth, this miracle, God, nature, whatever you call it, creates abundance. With a little bit of nudgery, there's a lot of food to go around. If you can keep the criminals away from it, if you can keep the gangs and the mobs and the governments from standing in the way and being bastards, there is abundance. There will be abundance. That's, as far as I can tell, life is flourishing. And robots can make it easier. Imagine if I had a robot. If I had a robot to paint my house or build a house, you know? Make things, whatever. I can figure out what people like, what people want, what people need. And I got a robot that I can rent or just have them do something. If my robot were to go out and do my yard work for me right now, that would be pretty cool. My yard would be better than it is now. I might go into my yard more if it wasn't as overgrown as it is right now. Yeah, I don't know. That's what I see happening. I see bringing back the manufacturing. I'm not sure how the details are supposed to work out. You know, all these guys, Andrew Yang and stuff, are talking about universal basic income, and you know that sends right wingers into a total hissy fit. Oh no! And I'm like, I get it. I know why you're doing that, but what do you do when all of manufacturing and all of farming is where all the dirty jobs, all the shit jobs that people don't really want to do, when all those can be done by robots? You know, Tucker and these guys will say, oh, it's going to be a miserable thing and people are going to start killing themselves. And it's just like, okay, maybe. Or maybe there's contests and see who can win the potato sack race. Maybe humans are built to compete and have fun. Have you ever been to a state fair where people brag about the size of their pumpkin or their potato or their sheep or their cow or their piece of art? People still want to brag and compete, and people still appreciate it when other people can do it. You know? Look at Etsy. Look at all that shit that people buy on Etsy. Some of it's made by robots, but the reason why Etsy exists is because people want handmade special things. We're emotional creatures. We want emotional things. We want to have emotional connections with people. We want to advertise ourselves as emotional creatures, as loving, wonderful people, you know? So we seek these things out. And if we don't have to have the dirt cheapest thing because our needs are met, who's to say an economy doesn't spring up around these wonderful ideas like the state fair? Sports, you know, they are packing stadiums full of people playing video games and watching each other. Twitch, people watching each other play video games. That's insane. Why would you want to? That's, you know, but they do, because people understand if you play a video game and you watch somebody else play it and you go, they have skills I don't have. And they want to see it. They'll pay for it. There's big prizes to win. Streamers will earn money. There's a million ways to trade money. People pay to watch people sing a song. Incredible amounts of money. Have you seen concert ticket prices? I look at them and I go, where are these people getting this $1,000 that they can just spend on a concert ticket? I don't know, but they are. And they're doing it. And they're buying the tickets. People are adaptable. They figure things out. People need to survive. They want to survive. And that's an incredible engine to figure out how to survive. So yeah, you people worrying and freaking out, and it's like, just fucking turn off your screen for a minute. Just chill the fuck out. Literally go out in nature. Watch the birds, watch the squirrels. Are they freaking out? Because that's when you need to freak out. Talking about the canary in the coal mine. When you start seeing all the birds dropping dead and the squirrels dropping dead and, big whales washing up on the beach at some alarming rate, worry about that. Trace it down. Find the person that's doing it. When the trees start drying up, the apples start shriveling up and falling off the tree, the grapes don't come out, the potatoes don't grow, that's when you need to start freaking out. Until then, hell, if you're worried, just buy some guns, prepare yourself, get all amped up and excited for the possibility of having some violent conflict. Because what else are you going to do? Just bemoan it? No, just fucking get excited for it. Like it's a big game, like it's the Super Bowl. It's probably not going to happen, let's be honest. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think revolution goes with an obesity epidemic. When you start seeing people become emaciated, yeah, that's time to worry maybe a little bit. But again, does that coincide with a drought where you can't grow a potato? Or is it because some fucking mobster is standing in the way of the potato truck and not letting the potato truck through? If that's the case, well, that's good news, because all you got to do is put a bullet through that guy's stupid face, and then, let the potato truck through, sir. Thank you. Please let me grow my potato in peace. Oh, Mr. Sir, are you blocking the water to my potato farm? That's the high value target. The guy blocking the water to your potato farm, he's the problem. But come on. Have you guys forgotten about Ceausescu? These people can be dragged through the streets, these manipulators, these terrible people getting in the way of free trade. That's to me what I see Trump doing. Trump to me seems to be a guy who wants to be on Mount Rushmore. And guess what? The only way you're getting on Mount Rushmore is if you really do something that makes the people happy. It makes the people go, you know what, dude, fuck yeah, high five. We're putting your fucking head in a mountain. We're going to carve out a mountain in the shape of your stupid face because you're fucking awesome. We like you. That's the only way you're getting up there. Okay? You're not going to get up there unless you do something remarkable. I think Trump is trying to do something remarkable. I think Trump is trying to deal with China. And I don't know how you can spin China into some positive thing like, oh yeah, the CCP, they're great for the Chinese people. No. I don't think so. I think Trump is trying to turn the people of China against the government of China. I don't know. But if Trump can end the CCP, that will be truly remarkable. And I don't think, I watch these, I've been watching for the last 6 or 7 years, these channels. I have a couple of connections to China. One of my old bandmates and roommates went to Shanghai to work, and another friend went there and owned a club in Shanghai, and all these connections in China. And so I've been watching these China channels of expats in China for the last, maybe a decade on YouTube. But almost all of them are no longer there. Almost all of them, they started out, China's great, Shanghai, come over here, this is great. The markets are opening, the technology is amazing, and this and that and this and that. But almost all of them have been driven out And almost all of them are now covering China in this way. It's just like China's evil. China's a paper dragon. Shit's going down over there. You watch. And I've been watching these channels, and they're the ones that are right now broadcasting that, oh shit, this tariff shit is really putting the pressure on these Chinese factories with their slim margins because they're being squeezed by the government. You know, you can only squeeze so hard. And can Xi Jinping and the CCP, can they face a foreign war and an internal war at the same time? Is China still the same? Can they just murder millions and millions of peasants? They still have some, but those aren't the people. Now they're dealing with a population that is, a lot of them are middle class. So now there's a population with lots to lose. You know, it's like the trick will be, can they turn that can they blame the U.S. for it, and can they drum up the will for the Chinese population to go to war with America? Or is the Chinese population smart enough to figure out that the CCP is the problem? That the CCP, you know, and they're closer. You know, you don't have to get across the ocean to fight the CCP. I don't know, I'm rambling. But yeah, don't worry, guys. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be fun. Be excited for it. If things get weird and shitty, keep your eye on the potato trucks. Thanks for listening.